Hi. Welcome back to my channel. In our channel, we are reading Ram, Sayana Fikshavaku, and yesterday we were reading chapter 8. Let's see what happens in chapter 9. So, a few months have passed since that conversation about Shukracharya between Ram and Vashisht, and these four princes have completed their education in the Gurukul and they will be returning back home the following day. Lakshman is out riding one last time, and once again he sees Guru Vashisht talking to that strange Naga under that bridge. And this Naga is telling Vashisht that we won't be meeting for a really long time, Guruji. So Vashisht says, yes, it will be a long time. We meet again. The people of Ayodhya don't know about this other life I'm living, and I will try to communicate in other ways. So this Naga says to Vashisht that I heard that your former friend's connection with Ravan becomes stronger. And Vashisht says he still is my friend because he helped me in the time when I was alone. So this Naga continues that you must tell me this story, Guruji, someday. Vashisht just gives a wry smile and says some stories are better left unsaid. Vashisht then changes the topic and says that I know why you have come here. So this Naga says, yes, I need to know. Now Vashisht says, smiling, Ram. And the Naga says, I thought you would choose Prince Bharat. So Vashisht says, no, it's Ram. It has to be Ram. So the Naga says, Prince Ram it is. And Lakshman has been listening to this entire conversation, and his heart just quickened by the mention of his brother's name. So Lakshman is again in the quarters of his brother, and he is trying to convince him that there are conspiracies going on. And once again Ram is not believing. Lakshman says, they have decided to kill you, Dada, I know it. So Ram just says, you find conspiracies in everything, Lakshman. Nobody tried to kill me back then. Nobody's trying to kill me now. I'm not that important, you know. I never was. So Lakshman just says, Dada, you don't understand anything. I don't know how long I'll be able to protect you like this. So Ram says, I know you will protect me forever. So he just pulled his cheek and said, now go sleep. In the next part of chapter 9, we see all the four princes are back in Ayodhya. Queen Kaushalya is unable to suppress her tears and she's crying. All she says is, welcome home, my son, which is making Ram super awkward and embarrassed. Now, we have a description of 18-year-old Ram. Like his mother, the 18-year-old eldest prince of the Raghu clan of Ayodhya had a dark, flawless complexion, which perfectly set off his sober white dhoti and angavastram. His broad shoulders, lean body, and powerful back were a testimony to his archery skills. Long hair tied neatly in an unassuming bun, he wore simple ear studs and a string of Rudraksh beads around his neck. The studs were shaped like sun as a Suryavanshi, and the Rudraksh, brown elliptical beads, was derived from the tree that represented Lord Rudra, who once saved India from evil. So, when Queen Kaushalya finally stopped crying, Ram just bowed to his father. The next thing we see is Ram was still kneeling in front of his father, waiting for an acknowledgement. But Dasharath, he seemed so lost. He was just blankly staring at the space, and his hands were resting on the armrests of his throne. there was this huge gathering for the princess to come back. And massive embarrassment was boiling up as Ram was waiting in front of Dasharath, and Dasharath was blankly staring everywhere. Now, there are certain things mentioned here that it was a very beautiful palace, but in some places, ornamentations have been taken out, maybe to sell off for the purpose of paying bills. Everybody knew Ram was not a favored son, and Dasharath is now not acknowledging him, and there were this hushed murmurs. Ram has always been a very obedient boy, man, whatever. He was there. He was just sitting the way he was sitting, and he wasn't even surprised. He has always faced this kind of disdain since childhood. Some people still believe that it was his birth was the reason behind Dashrath's loss. But Ram didn't think much because Vashisht had taught him once that people are going to talk. It is, after all, their job. Finally, it was Kaikeyi who came up to Dashrath, and she had this calm, submissive demeanor outside, but inside she was very aggressive, and she just hissed into his ears, "Acknowledge Ram. Remember, descendant, not protector." And Dasharath, as if he was run by Kaikeyi, he just said, "Rise, Ramchandra, descendant of Raghu clan." Vashisht was very disapproved with this decision. Now, among the crowd, there was this woman adorned in rich clothes and jewelry, fair-skinned. She was old and had a humped back, and she has a very menacing appearance. And she just turned towards this man standing next to her and said, Do you understand, Dhruvu? Descendant, not protector." And this man, Dhruvu, he just said, "Yes, Mantharaji." So her name was Manthara. Now, calling Ram descendant and not a protector was quite understandable, that he was not going to get what he deserves, being the firstborn. That is, he is not going to be crowned king after Dasharath. But even Ram has accepted the fact that he's nothing to his father. So all he just said is, "May all the gods of our great land continue to protect you, my father." And he just stepped back to his position for his other brothers to come along. Next we have Bharat. Now there is description of Bharat as well. Bharat, though shorter, was heavier in build. Years of hard work showed in his musculature, while the scars he bore gave him a fearsome yet attractive look. He has inherited his mother's fair complexion and had set it off with a bright blue dhoti and angavastram. The headband that held his hair in place was embellished with an intricate embroidered golden peacock feather. His charisma, though, lay in his eyes and face, a sharp nose, strong chin, and eyes that danced with mischief. But Bharat was not very happy with Dasharath's decision about his elder brother. He was kind of sad. He was upset with his father. Now Bharat walked up to Dasharath in nonchalance and kneeled, but he didn't bow. And Kaikeyi was looking at his son with glaring eyes like, "Bow." But Bharat wasn't a kid anymore, so he just didn't bother. So Kaikeyi again whispered things into Dasharath's ears, and he said, "Rise, Bharat, descendant of the Raghu clan." And Bharat just casually said, "May Lord Indra and Lord Varun grant you wisdom, my father." And he just turned and winked at Ram and got back to his position. Ram, however, was impassive. He just didn't flinch. And now we have Lakshman. People were kind of flabbergasted by his gigantic frame. He was tall and huge, but he was dressed up neatly. Even in dress up, Lakshman kind of followed his elder brother Ram. He had avoided any kind of jewelry. He had Rudraksh in his neck and also wore ear studs. And Shatrughan was dressed up in proper neat clothes and minimalistic jewelry. And both of these princes had a fuss-free acknowledgement. So Kaikeyi and an attendant helped Dashrath stand up and walk back to his chambers, and his eyes just fell upon Ram, and he just looked at him with disgust and irritation. Now that Manthara lady was still standing with Druhu, his I think Druhu is her assistant. Now it is believed that Manthara was the richest in Ayodhya, even richer than the emperor, and she was a close confidant of Queen Kaikeyi. Now Manthara noticed that Ram and Bharat has friendship between them, and this was unexpected. She found this interesting, and Druhu asks her, "What are you thinking, my lady?" Very surprisingly, Manthara, almost very similar to Vashisht, was saying, "Whom should we choose, Bharat or Ram?" So she decided to plant her daughter to know more about this princess. Her daughter's name was Roshni. And Dhruvu just says, "My lady, your daughter is innocent, like Kanyakumari, the virgin goddess. Why would you do that to her?" So Manthara says, "It is her innocence that will help me gain all the information I need. Men have a liking for the virgin goddess, and they believe it must be honored and protected." So that was the end of chapter 9. To see what happens next, keep coming back. Bye bye.